Welcome to the Arizona State Football Insider, brought to you by Regain Law. Before we get going, please allow me to introduce our newest Sun Devil expert, Brittany Bowyer. How you doing, Brittany?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing? I still am sort of recovering a voice from Saturday's game. I was screaming my head off because for the first time in like 5 years, I can go to the game as a true fan. So it was exciting for me for a little bit, and then it was just frustrating, but I still don't give up my Sun Devil pride. I scream till I have no voice.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, man. Juan, hey, brother, let's start with you, man. Going down in the half, 24-6. You know, we end up losing to Utah 34-13. Let's start off with that offense, man. Emory came out 21 for 36, throwing 2 picks. Good job, brother.
Well, I think the biggest problem when you look at the offensive production in a collective sense is that we're not sustaining blocks on the offensive line. We're not giving Emory enough time to read the defense. And when your quarterback is not secure in the protection or in the offense itself, bad things are going to happen. And I don't know if he's so much interception prone as he is just happy feet, getting rid of the ball, maybe not making the reads. And I just think it's just a culmination of just, one issue after another, which I'm sure Britt can elaborate to, that is just not meshing well. It's just something is just not adding up for this offense to be productive.
Now, Brittany, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
With this season coming in all of the new parts, do you think that all of the new transfers coming in has something to do with the cohesion of the team?
Yes and no. Offensively, I'm going to tell you what I truly think it is, and I've talked with Juan about this. Everyone was very displeased with Zach Hill. I don't want to say everyone, but a majority of people were very displeased with Zach Hill.
Hey, today we'd like to welcome Sun Devil legend. I call him Mr. Versatility, Mr. Rudy Burgess. How you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. How you doing today?
Definitely, man. I'm wonderful, man. Like I said, you're my favorite Sun Devil back, Mr. J.R. Redmond.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's not a bad back to be reminded of. You know what I mean?
Rudy.
For sure. Now.
Yeah, I also enjoyed watching you play. I mean, if there's one word that can describe your career other than successful as a Sun Devil, it's versatility and being able to change to help the team get in a better position to win. What kind of walk us through that mentality? What do you have to do internally, mentally, physically when they ask you to make a change, like from receiver to running back, for instance? Now all of a sudden you're going from running routes to running people over. What does that take to do that? And walk us through that mentality.
Well, just to let you know, it wasn't necessarily the coaches changing me to that position. It was me seeing that the team's needs were more important than my needs at that time. And I saw that we were deficient in some positions. So I actually went to coach and said, hey, coach, I could play defense, and hey, coach, I could play running back. And it started off as a joke with both of my position coaches. And then it came a time where now we're down to basically our walk-on guys. And it's like, it's not that we don't trust our walk-on guys, but if we got guys on scholarship who can play and make a difference now, why not give them a try? So basically, at the time it was Coach Carrier, who was my DBs or the DBs coach at the time. And, I would always mess with the DBs and tell them how I could lock the guys up, and he let me try. And then I went out there, I must have saw something he liked. And then next thing you know, he started developing me a little bit more. And then, come the Stanford game, here I am starting, and the same thing at running back. We had running backs go down, injury, get kicked out, and came to a situation where I said, coach, I played running back in high school. If you need me to play, I'll go in there and play. And same thing, put me in there for a couple inside run plays, and I was like, wow, the next thing you know, here I am starting. So I look at it as I was kind of like the Band-Aid for the team when we were in need, because I played the position, those positions for, the year. And then we were able to recruit for those positions, bringing in guys like Keegan Herring, Ryan Terrain, and then even at cornerback, bringing guys like Justin Tryon and stuff like that. So I looked at it as I wanted to be able to win. And the only way we're going to win is having guys who could play and make a difference. So
making the transition from high school to college as a skill player, when were you able to adjust to the speed of the game, and how did you go about doing that?
I'd say it was my redshirt freshman year when I started playing receiver, and then just noticing that whatever it is I was doing was not enough. And then I just remember seeing guys like Michael Williams, who actually wore number 3 before I was wearing it. I just saw his work ethic, and he was kind of one of the guys who kind of inspired me to, do more in the off season. And the spring of my sophomore year is kind of when I started taking that initiative and realizing like, man, this is how I got to keep up. And that's how I was able to make an impact.
So, Rudy, you were also part of a turnaround when you look at the 2006 season. I remember because I had just moved back from Michigan that year, and I watched you guys play on Dirk Cutter's last year, and obviously he was let go at season's end. In comes Dennis Erickson. You were part of that transition that went from a 6-win team into a 9-win team. Just what happened that offseason? What was it that your leadership did? Because you guys came out a whole different group of players in 2007, and even were in position to win the Pac-10 title at that time. Kind of walk us through that offseason, and what did you guys do to make that transition and make that jump the way you did in 1 year? It was dramatic.
Honestly, I think it was our juniors and our seniors who kind of took control. Obviously, when a coach leaves and if a coach brings you in and then he's no longer there, sometimes you come because of the coach. But, we had great leaders like Rudy Carpenter, Mike Pollock, Josh Barrett, who, we made a commitment to each other in our player-led meetings that we're going to stick together. We came in as a freshman class and we're going to, finish off what we started. And just the mindset and the energy, we held guys accountable. We didn't leave it up to the coaches to call guys and ask them why they were late to practice. We would go to guys' house after that, and we just held each other accountable for the most part.
Yeah, it was definitely a great year. It was my first year doing a broadcast for Fox, for Fox Sports. And it was exciting to watch you and Ryan Terrain and that defense with the beast, Robert James. It was a very exciting team to watch. Had it there, man, right? But, just like our Rose Bowl win, it just didn't quite work out, but it was definitely an exciting year. Now, Rudy, I don't know if you do this stat, but do you know that you're only one of 14 players in all of FBS that's ever amassed 4,379 all-purpose yards, 4,379 yards. So when we talk about versatility, we talk about someone who's selfless and sacrifices. I didn't even know if you knew that. There's only 14
I heard
other
of
guys that have done
some stat like that when I was playing. It was like 1 of 4 to do it, and then now it's kind of risen. But wow, that's a huge stat right there.
Well, it's just a testament to your hard work and your selflessness. Obviously, I know you're a maroon and gold through and through Sun Devil, and you also actually had some experience in coaching.
Yes.
So I want to transition to that. You've been inside the meeting room. You've been inside the preparations. And in your view right now, where do you see the program is right now? Kind of walk us through from you got the player mentality for sure, but now you've been in those meeting rooms and you've been part of that end of the business. Kind of, what do you think right now is the biggest thing facing our program?
I think the biggest thing, honestly, is the energy and tradition. In my opinion, I think what we need to do is get back to our traditional ways at ASU, and maybe bring somebody in who's going to kind of more so abide by that tradition. Because even if you look at it when Dennis Erickson came in, we didn't go to Camp T the first couple of years. So that, again, something that's so traditional for ASU to not have on homecoming games. We're not wearing our traditional maroon and gold with the Sparky on the helmet, and just finding someone who can really do the research and keep those traditions alive. I think every new coach that comes in kind of lets those traditions slip away. And then we don't really have that buy-in. We don't get the real support from ASU fans, alumni, and players. It's almost like we get recruited based off of the uniform aspect or, the resort life living in the dorms and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you can pretty much get that everywhere because every top school has the newest locker room. They have the newest weight room. So, one thing that we're missing at ASU is the traditional fact.
Talking about the tradition, you're right. It's something that definitely has slipped. And you were part of the tradition of Camp Tonizona, the hard work and the camaraderie up there. As far as the state of the program now, again, being that you've been in those meeting rooms, based on what you've seen so far, I mean, obviously we're a week into Aguano's tenure, and I know that there's a lot of football to be played. But just at this moment in time, what's your take on them letting the coach go after 3 games?
Man, I think that was huge. And, I think that can divide a team quickly, because again, 3 games into the season, just like I said, a lot of those freshmen and players who came in who were recruited by Coach Edwards and, some of his staff, now to have him gone, that plays a big effect on their mentality and, their want to go to practice and stuff like that. And, I think right now we're just in a hangover stage and we don't have any energy. We don't have any real leadership or guidance for the boys who they can trust, because right now it's like, well, what are we doing? We're in open waters, but barely staying afloat,
So Rudy, you touched on a lot of things that I actually wrote a really great story on. And before Mark Brand got fired, he called me and threatened to revoke my credential on, touching on the straying away from tradition at ASU and what ASU fans could do to help support the fan base. So as a former player, I want to know what you think fans could do to help kind of bring back some of those traditions and help the players feel supported and appreciated, because I kind of was in the middle of getting to tell that story and I never felt like I totally got an answer. And I'd love to hear from someone who's a former player.
I mean, I can tell you that when I have conversations with old teammates and old players, a lot of them all have pretty much the same view as they need to do more with the alumni. You know, I don't know what that is. I don't know how we do that, but bringing the former players back to the program and get them involved, whether it be, you know, just having them a part of the program. At one point, I think I had 4 or 5 teammates on program when I was a GA, but you know, you look at the staff now, what guys are on staff to help tell the story of ASU football, to help these kids and parents understand the recruiting, helping these new coaches who are not familiar with ASU tradition and help them be educated on how to recruit here. You know, the same way that I'm still loyal to ASU and all of us here are still, you know, wearing our pitchforks, we can tell the story best from our perspectives, being in the locker room, being, you know, a part of Southern Upstate, State, being a part of Tempe and stuff like that. You know, so I think that's going to be the biggest factor that we're going to have to change in order to get these recruits and even to maintain the coaches. Because in my opinion, I thought we would keep Herm Edwards for, 10 years just because of his character, just because of his resume and his mentorship. But again, I don't think he knew the tradition and how to really represent ASU. So good coach, but bad as far as the tradition wise, to find those top guys.
So who's the person we reached out to try to advocate for more former players from ASU?
I know Menenfield, he's the guy, he's kind of the main, the spearhead and everything. But even if he was able to get some players to work with him and help build that community, help build that former player relationship with the coaches, because, and honestly, I've only met Herm 3 times the entire time he was here, because it was hard to get a hold of him. It was hard to sit down with him, because one, he was always on the run. And then, I don't know if he ever had any former player meetings, which I hear other universities having with the head coach,
Yeah.
Hey, Rudy, we're going to have to get out of here, brother. Thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Rudy,
problem,
thank
man.
you, brother. Appreciate you. Forks
Yeah,
up.
anytime. Absolutely.
Yeah.